Welcome to the T-Pac Arcade. Today's game is Super Bomberman 2 for the Nintendo Super Famicom. In this 1994 elimination puzzler from Hudson Soft, Bomberman has to save the Earth from an evil robot gang called the Five Dastardly Bombers, who may be dastardly, but in proper Bomberman fashion, are also adorable. Super Bomberman 2 is a tile-based action game, where you have to open the exit to each stage by defeating all the enemies and illuminating all the special light boxes. And since your name is Bomberman, it only makes sense that you do this by planting bombs everywhere. You have an unlimited supply, and a planted bomb detonates outward in the 4 cardinal directions after a brief period of time. Standard upgrades increase the blast radius of each bomb, and the number of bombs you can set simultaneously. But there are plenty of other power-ups too, hidden in blocks throughout the playfield, like roller skates that let you move faster, hearts that allow you to take 2 hits before dying, brick icons that enable you to walk through stage hazards, and apples that make you go, eep! Technically they're a point bonus, but I really only collected them because it's funny to hear Bomberman go, eep. You can even upgrade the type of bomb you use, from the standard, to the spike ball, to the almighty heart bomb, which detonates on command whenever you press the B button. No more struggling to get perfect timing on your bomb drops. Now you're in control of your own destiny. The maestro of destruction. The king of pyros. No longer a bomber man, but a bomber master. At least until you trap yourself between a block and a bomb you just set. Nothing kills your ego faster than being detonated by the folly of your own almighty hand. But that's not to say the only enemy here is yourself. Bomberman's gotta contend with plenty of adorably evil creatures, like magnet cyborgs that pull you toward themselves and trap you, egg yolks that drive tanks and shoot projectiles, lethargic onions that take 2 hits to destroy because they start flailing around with their stems on fire after the first blast, slip and slide penguins, pink Pac-Man things that eat your bombs, now part of a balanced breakfast, and blue fish that move faster in the dark. So it's best to bomb nearby light switches on. Not only because the fish are easier to destroy when they crawl around more slowly in the light, but because I'm afraid of the dark anyway. I'm also afraid of the bosses in this game. Each of the 5 worlds consists of 6 standard levels plus a 2-part boss fight. The first part is a one-on-one bombing match against a dastardly bomber, followed by a second fight where they pilot a big machine. Everything from a punching magnet robot with spring arms, to a creepy floating sun with the most terrifyingly detailed face I've ever seen in a 16-bit video game, to a giant version of Bomberman himself, which circles back to the underlying message in all Bomberman games, that you are your own worst enemy. I mean, why else would these video games so willingly let half your deaths come from detonating yourself by accident? In any case, the last element to contend with in Super Bomberman 2 is a plethora of stage hazards, or in some cases, stage assets. Caution dots extend your blast radius to the length of the playfield, dynamite packages cause chain explosions, fire blocks reignite after a short period of time, and by the way, don't ask me why you extinguish fire blocks by blowing them up in the first place. Last time I checked, putting out a fire by setting it on fire is not a recommended method, and certain elevated blocks can be bombed into holes, creating new pathways. There are even some neat ways to traverse certain levels, like cannons, springboards, and even submarines. As with most Bomberman games, the visuals here are cute and charming, everything you'd want in an action puzzler. The enemies are all well designed to complement their attacks, and each world has a distinct theme that uses familiar elements without falling into been there done that territory. The music, to be perfectly honest, gets a little too circusy for me sometimes, but never enough to detract from the game in any meaningful way. My favorite part of Super Bomberman 2 is the bonus lives. Every once in a while, a little tiny glowing Bomberman will appear from inside a block and just wander around until you pick him up for an extra life. Adorable. The most novel aspect of Super Bomberman 2, and most any Bomberman game, is the battle mode. If you get tired of playing standard levels, you can face off against up to 3 other players, or computer opponents, in one of 10 arenas with different gimmicks, like ice tiles, teleporters, speed switches, and water currents that sweep you and your bombs around in a circle. I'm not too keen on battle mode myself, but at least I had the option to set the number of rounds per match, the time limit, and even the skill level of the computer opponents. And naturally, I set it to 1, so they'd be as dumb as me. I didn't have that same luxury for the main game though. I've beaten it legitimately in the past, but for the most recent playthrough, I got super annoyed with certain stages and decided to set bookmarks for myself with save states. I mean, there is a password system and unlimited continues here, but some levels are broken into 2 segments, and I got tired of repeating the first half over and over and over every time I died on the second. And every time I played this game, I had to look up how to defeat the final boss online. Which brings me to the one thing I would change here. To defeat the one-eyed space alien, you have to throw bombs at him instead of setting them on the ground like normal. Not only does that require picking up the glove upgrade in the previous fight against Plasma Bomber, but it's not a mechanic you learn intuitively like all the others. You basically have to keep pressing A over a bomb to pick it up and toss it. It's not so bad, but I just wish the final battle would test the skills you've already honed instead of forcing you to learn a new one. Overall, you really can't go wrong with Super Bomberman 2. It's cute, it's fun, and if you hang on to the heart bomb long enough, it lets you bask in your own glory as the Lord of Demolition, the omnipotent arbiter of ignition, the destructive flame incarnate, no longer a Bomberman, but a Bomber Monarch. At least until you accidentally blow yourself up.